Hi, I'm Zach Needles, Editor-in-Chief of Family Business Magazine. In this interview, I chat with Ross Lazaroo-Hood, founder and CEO of the Lazaroo-Hood Group, about launching a single-family office after a successful entrepreneurial exit and using it to back founder-led businesses with both capital and real-world guidance. Ross shares why he invests in people more than products, how he evaluates entrepreneurial hunger and resilience, and why the best investor-founder relationships are built on transparency, challenge, and trust rather than polished pitches and flowery words. Hi, Ross. Thanks so much for joining me today.
Hi there, Zach. Thanks for having me on today. It's really appreciative.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's start at the logical first step here, which is how the family office was founded. So when, how, but most importantly, why was your family office founded?
Absolutely. So I was started back in February of 25. Through my family lawyers, Phil Fisher. We set up London and we set up Jersey to give an international flavor, but also to take advantage for options, etc. So why? I had a large exit from selling my first company that I founded back in 2016 called Landmark Underwriting. And
Mhm.
I wanted to give back, in all honesty, because as a council estate kid and also, from a single parent, it was, I suppose, doubling, helping with charitable, but also helping founders, which I wish I had back
Yeah.
in the day, because I had to go through, clawing nails to try and get to, be a success. But not everybody needs to do that. And if I can do a little bit of help, not just financially, but guidance, then that's something that I wanted to do as a family office. And then I suppose if you look to the future, it's to give my kids a bit of a foundation, both financially, and see how they can maybe thrive entrepreneurial.
Yeah. Excellent. So in your investments, it's not just a bunch of passive investments. You're investing in founder-led companies and hopefully helping at least to provide a little guidance and advice to those founders.
Absolutely. So I suppose it was a bit cocky. I said I would invest 10 million over 5 years, and I did it in a year. I don't think
Yeah.
my wife was too impressed with that, um, each one of mine are definitely founder led. They're early to mid. They're also, I suppose, high risk, because
Yeah.
that's exactly that's about.
Yeah.
Um, and it's I'd probably say, yeah, the majority of them are significant six figures.
Excellent. And since you started the family office, how many family members does the office serve? It's your nuclear family, I guess, right?
Exactly it. So there's 5 members currently, and then
Okay.
that will be sets forward in the will and authorities, etc. So that would take it hopefully to generational.
Excellent. And as we were just talking about your investment strategy, you're emphasizing early to mid stage companies. What signals or characteristics tell you that a business is ready for your support? And like you said, there's definitely risk involved, right? But what are you looking for in these companies?
Well, suppose it's less than the financials. It's less than the product. It's all about the founder, a bit like you said earlier. It's about buying into the people.
Yeah.
And initially, you hear that analogy 80-20 when it comes down to
Right.
it. That is exactly about it, because you need the passion. Yes, you need to have, the experience. Have they had successes in life? Never mind in regard to the industry, but it's about seeing how they could handle the pressures and stress that this could deliver over the period. And I describe it like a roller coaster. And that's exactly what, never mind entrepreneurial ship is like. It's also about building a startup company, and it ain't going to be easy. And I've
Yeah.
you, and I can tell you, it was sweating some nights and clammy hands quite a few of the times. I suppose that's another story, a different time. But realistically, it's all about seeing, is there a gap in the market for what they're talking about? Do these guys have the longevity to see it through? Is it a single founder? Is it multiple? And from there, it's about looking to be guidance, challenging, never critical. It's about setting up a holistic ecosystem to help them, but it's about challenging, and
Yeah.
that's then, I suppose, there is definitely a difference from my generation of entrepreneurs to today's, and it isn't critical. It's about the fact that I was an older entrepreneur where um, there wasn't a second chance. I needed
Yeah.
it, seed for my family, and the money in the bank. I couldn't go home. I had a mortgage and kids, etc. Today's younger generation can go home. So it's seen that, do they actually have the same sort of hunger to move forward? And then it's the fact of clicking. And I suppose
Yeah.
that's the thing for me. I cut through the red tape. And yes, there's due diligence, but for me, wise, it's all about people and buying
Yeah.
in.
Yeah. It's really interesting what you were saying about, do they have that hunger? Because when you're talking about, and I think the term that I saw that maybe on your website was dreamers, innovators, and builders, which is obviously what you want in an entrepreneur and a founder. But we hear all the time, there are people who are just like, I'm an ideas man, right? I come up with these ideas, but I have no idea how to execute and I don't ever follow through. So how do you kind of balance, and in your experience too as a founder, how do you balance like the conviction of a visionary founder with that discipline that you need to actually stick with it, get through the hard times, and make a big dream become a reality?
I think you just hit the right words. It's about the conviction of the visionary, but it's
Yeah.
the realism of what life is like as an entrepreneur and what a business is going forward. It's looking at the financials. Do you have the cushion? It'll take you 12, 18 months. I know that there's sometimes a curveball, that either there's growth, there's an opportunity to get a marketeer, get a business development person in, or go into a market or a customer sector. I get it. And you might need to do another raise, or basically ask the current shareholders to dip in their pocket again. But
Yeah.
fundamentally, when you're raising, it's all about the fact of your numbers, your seasonalization, as I call it in underwriting. It's about working out those 12 to 18 months and how the money will push you through to that critical side. But
Yeah.
again, realism of
Yeah.
what involves. And it is, again, I use the word, it's the hunger and passion um,
Yeah.
to go through the nitty gritty. Um,
Yeah.
so learning. It's learning about
Yeah.
profit and loss. It's learning what you need for, it's a physical product, what is the materialistic side? Do you have a cushion in case economics are changing in the world today? Gee whiz, there's products and materials are hard to come by in certain sectors, from, cocoa to chips. And sometimes you're looking at some amazing remote technical help, which is based out in Bali. So there's time differences. So there's a whole bunch of stuff for those guys to be looking at the same time. But again, my job, and I suppose I'm a different investor compared to most, because yes, I cut through red tape, and I have my heart in my sleeve and I've been burnt. But realistically, it is, given that real world experience of where I've went through it, and I can show them, but will they accept that experience and take it away and digest it and maybe challenge themselves, which is great,
Yeah.
honestly. But it is, I suppose, it's hard for certain people to receive a challenge. But if you can get that, that's a great partnership.
Yeah. Absolutely. And I, correct me if I'm wrong here, but it kind of along the same lines of finding the right people to work with. I think you work a fair amount with external managers and co-investors and management teams, right? And so, what have you learned on that side of the deals about choosing the right partners, and how do you kind of define a successful partnership?
Yeah, it is difficult because you don't want somebody the same. That they're, I suppose, another analogy, you don't want to be the smartest person in the room. Get out. You know, you,
Yeah.
you get
Yeah.
in. to a room where you're challenged as well, both by the founder. But if you come to the external guys that I utilize, one of them is John Heyman. He came in as a 4I policy on every single investment that I've done. We've known each other for 4 years. That has now changed, and he's now my managing partner as we grow.
Yeah.
He's wonderful, that he's had international experience in the US that I haven't. He's got food and beverage experience that I'm pretending I have after buying a water company.
Right.
Gets me that air at that point. But it's nice. We don't go in as good and bad cop, but the founders get two people for one on a call, and I
Yeah.
think is marvelous. And there's no point me pretending that I know everything, because that would be a joke. But realistically,
Yeah.
I've got a person who compliments me, but challenges me even on a call in front of the founder. So there's no
Yeah.
ego, realistically.
Yeah.
Why, if you look at to the secondary, it's looking at the maybe it's the fact that the founder's looking for a new investor, and you go, well, could you work with them? I'm like, well, I
Yeah.
can work with anybody. It comes down to
Yeah.
what you need, and what that person needs is added value, and to fill the gaps of expertise that we don't have currently on that board. But it's, I suppose,
Yeah.
transparency. It's being honest that, is it about financial? Is it about getting rich quick? Is it about a long exit? It's making sure that the founding team, the original founding investor, and also the future investors are all on the same page, because that can be the
Yeah.
hardest ever. Because you can, think, oh my goodness, yay, I'm going to be, excuse the pun, but a Revolut, and make loads of money, but it's going to take 14 years. And that's what people forget. It took 14 years for that
Yeah.
to get to it. Or could it be a 3-year turnaround where you've been, to use a Northern Irish term, jammy, to make a quick turn? You need to be realistic. And I think that
Yeah.
happens not just with the founder, but with the investor. But then you've got the high end, I suppose, PE, VC companies and experienced family offices that want to throw all the red tape, throw all the financials from solicitors and DD people, but the founders don't have the cash. And again,
Yeah.
to an Irishism is, you need to wind your neck in and look at
Yeah.
what it's about. And it's about the founder succeeding, you getting a nice exit, but all these people that are coming on board should have made a wee bit of money, and it's about helping that founder get to your stage and pat them on the back and go, we helped you, and yeah, we made a wee bit of dough
Yeah.
on the back. So
Yeah. I love that phrase, "wind your neck in." I'm gonna start using that. I don't know I don't know if everyone in the States will know what I'm talking about, but I love that phrase, and I get it completely. And I also loved what you were talking about getting on a call with a founder, and you and your partner your partner will sometimes challenge you on the call. I would imagine that really helps with trust, because then the founder knows, like, okay, these guys didn't come on with a choreographed sales pitch, right? Like, these guys are actually trying to get to the bottom of what needs to happen here in real time, which I feel like if I was a founder, that would be that would instill some trust, right?
well, yeah, I think you've hit the nail on the head. And to us, again, a very different investor, whereby we don't want everything pretty, where we get like a monthly update and it's, oh, we've hit target, or we're on route to target. All the bunch of lovely flowery words. We turn around and
Yeah.
says, excuse my term here, but we want the crap dump on a Monday, because
Yeah.
as an investor, you can see what's going wrong, and maybe we can help, or we know somebody that can help. And that is something that I think a lot of investors also forget. It ain't all going to be sweet and nice. And if you are getting that, well, something's going wrong somewhere, and they're
Yeah.
hiding stressed about it. And again,
Yeah.
it's about mental health. And your job also is to hold their hand through mental health issues, and help them
Mm.
grow. So it's about,
Yeah.
as I said, on a Monday or once a month, give us your crap dump and tell us what's keeping you
Yeah.
up at night. And we do that regularly. It was basically John Heyman who he pitched that to me, and I loved that because again, there's transparency from day one, and I think
Yeah.
that's something which is marvelous. Not every founder likes it. I won't lie. I'm still learning on the job of how to challenge
Yeah.
these people. But it's realistically of saying to them, you might not like us all the time, but we're here to help.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Well, like you said, if everything is flowery and perfect all the time, you know that something's actually going wrong behind the scenes, right? So I think it's good to have that honesty and transparency. And so I wanted to just wrap up with a couple of questions about philanthropy because I love talking about this angle too of the things that you're passionate about from a philanthropic and a charitable side. And I think from doing some background research, I think sports, the arts, neurodiversity, sustainability are some of your core areas. And if I'm missing any, let me know. But why are those specific areas of focus? Why are those the things that you're sort of passionate about from a philanthropic lens?
I think if I backtrack from earlier comment, it's the fact that I come from a single parent, a very
Yeah.
powerful mum. You always hear about a good Irish mum keep you straight, or you get a wooden spoon. You need to look that up, but it's basically you make sure your things are right. But
Okay.
it's also part of the heart of neurodivergency for me because I'm dyslexic, and I was very early diagnosed. I'm 50 now, and it's about diagnosed when I was in primary three, which wasn't the best diagnosis, but later on I got a better, and I learned how that can be a valuable asset. And it's great these days that companies are looking to set a new environment for people's skills to be inclusive within the company, and it's
Yeah.
looking how diversity can actually be an amazing skill to bring in, and that's something about for me. Both in education and in regard to I suppose the umbrella of the Lazaroo-Hood Foundation and my charity is about disadvantaged, underprivileged, and then it runs through. So you've got the pillars for me, and we're building over is currently education, and I'm putting in £500,000 into that, and we'll be
Yeah.
developing education options, and then we'll be looking at sport, medical, homelessness, arts and culture, etc. And again, you hit the nail earlier. Sport, so I've always been a big pro about helping grassroots. I've been looking to help and move that forward, and amazingly been able to invest in Sporta, which is a new challenger bank they're trying to grow at the moment, and they're going through the hoops of the amazing Bank of England and working together in partnership to get a license with restrictions. But it's Sporta are
Yeah.
amazing to help. Um, I suppose it's on and off the field and helping those to educate in finance and help grassroots, elite, national, international associations and clubs, which has been forgotten about. And they're definitely known as the home of sport going forward. And it's very exciting what they're building. And
Yeah.
I came in
Yeah.
and I took a very significant amount to kind of push that forward, and it's exciting where that could actually develop both on a national level in the UK, but you never know with growth internationally, and to be part of that to give I suppose those within sport a future that normally is forgotten, either those who fail because of injury, didn't make the cut, or those elite who get unfortunately left behind due to injury and had to leave, and they don't know
Yeah.
how to manage their finances. And that's something I care deeply about. Never mind about growing sport, where they don't have sponsorship, donations, but the community would love to help. Well, that's about setting up a financial institution and hopefully a challenger bank down the line to move it forward. So that's, I suppose, for me, foundation philanthropy, investing, and having an impact overall.
Yeah. Excellent. And I want to finish on that thought, but just from a structural standpoint, is your foundation? Do you consider your foundation? Is it part of the family office? Are they two separate entities? How does that work?
So Um, regulatively, they are separate because they have to have a charity
Okay.
commission.
Yeah.
Um, and we have that set up where it's Malaysian, UK, island of Ireland, and we're now pushing it internationally. But it is hand in glove. And how what I mean about that is that yes, I've put my own personal family money into it initially, but with every exit, a significant portion will come from each investment and will be put into the foundation and build out those pillars of, as I said, education, sport, arts and culture, homelessness, and such forth. We're going to build through. And again, it's all about giving back. If you've got a bit of money and
Yeah.
you've done okay, why wouldn't you try to help others? And never mind on the
Yeah.
investment, but help society as a whole and internationally as well, because it's great.
Yeah.
And it gives your heart a wee bit of song that you're actually, doing something for other people, of which I wish my mum was helped back in the day, with four strapping lads, so.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that. Well, so my last question would just kind of be about the impact. Do any of those areas of focus for your philanthropy also inform your investments, or is it sort of a separate focus on what you're looking for?
No, again, I think everything is symbiotic, and all honesty,
Yeah.
because I can't see it not being. So I suppose it's
Yeah.
what impact am I looking for? And each of my investments, or I suppose each investee, what are they doing with purpose? And
Yeah.
we mentioned sport earlier, but if you
Yeah.
look at Fuel Hive, they're coming out to the States at the moment. They're looking to bring healthy food to those people quickly. Because at the minute you've got obviously your Uber Eats, your Deliveroo, and all these guys, but what you don't have is healthy food at a touch of an app.
Yeah.
These guys can have food delivered that, say you've been out on the town and you're feeling a bit rough and you go, a bag of chips or can of Coke or whatever it is. But rather, if you've
Yeah.
got in the fridge a healthy meal, calorie counter, you get that straight through. If you're a gym person, you've got, healthy food in the fridge. So it's all about impact, purpose, yes, environmental sustainability, but also how can we impact individuals, groups, communities as well. And that's what the foundation is about. And that works into the investments as well. And I like the fact that within my portfolio, there is a holistic ecosystem where we try to celebrate each one. I don't double down in my investments. I stick to an industry until it exits. So there's no
Yeah.
conflicts. But it's
Yeah.
all normally there's at least even a slither, but I try to look something more significant of, is there a purpose within the product or the investee's dream, I suppose, at that
Yeah.
point.
Excellent. Well, Russ, I just want to say thank you so much for taking the time to chat. It's so great to learn about family offices, and I love talking to somebody who started a family office with a real purpose. You have this kind of multi-generational goal, but you're also trying to help other for yourself, but you're also trying to help other founders, hopefully start businesses and start wealth that'll be multi-generational for them. So I just think it's a great story. I appreciate you taking some time. I know it's nighttime where you are, so I appreciate you jumping on here and chatting.
No, it's a pleasure, and it's I don't know what time, nearly 9 o'clock at night in Malaysia, but
Yeah.
it's been an absolute pleasure, Zach, and thanks for inviting me on. And it's been lovely to talk to you and being able to expand and discuss my family office and what it's all involving.